Hello, good morning students. Welcome to part 2 of chapter 5, Location and Time. Let me share a video related to the world time zones. How is time calculated related according to the latitudes and the longitudes? In that we have the prime meridian first. Let us see the video.
In the old days, each town would keep their own times, with a town clock being set to noon when the sun reached its highest point in the sky. However, by the late 19th century, rail had begun to move people across great distances. Schedules became very confusing, as each stop was based on a different town's time. Thus, a need emerged to standardize time so rail could operate more efficiently. In 1884, delegates from 26 countries met in Washington, D.C. to agree on a prime meridian as a common zero point for longitude. The result was Greenwich, England, being selected as the international standard for 0 degrees longitude and established the 24 time zones. Today, most countries follow the hourly deviations, though they do not always align with longitudes for reasons such as keeping the entire country in one time zone or altering times at certain times of the year, for example, daylight savings time. Time zones are based on the fact that the Earth moves 15 degrees longitude each hour. Since there are 24 hours in a day, there are 24 standard time zones. Time zones are counted from the prime meridian, which is 0 degrees longitude. Each time zone is counted at 15-degree intervals and extends 7.5 degrees either side of the central meridian. For example, Sydney, Australia, lies in the 150 degrees east central meridian, and the time zone includes all locations between 142.5 degrees east and 157.5 degrees east. Now, I will show you how to calculate time zones. First, determine whether the time zone is in the eastern or western hemisphere. If the time zone is east of the prime meridian, such as Australia, it will be at an earlier time than Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT. If it is west of the prime meridian, such as Canada, it will be a later time. Second, count how many time zones away from Greenwich the location is. For example, Greenland is one time zone to the west of Greenwich, so I will subtract 1 hour from GMT to determine the time there. Oslo in Norway is one time zone to the east of Greenwich, so I will add just 1 hour to the current Greenwich Mean Time. When counting the number of time zones away a location is, count the time zone your location is in, but do not count the time zone that Greenwich is in. For example, I will count for Buenos Aires, Argentina. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, if the time is 4:34 GMT, I will subtract 4 hours to find out the time for Buenos Aires. The time will be 0:34. The international date line is an imaginary line lying 180 degrees in the line of longitude on the opposite side of the Earth to the prime meridian. This line separates one calendar day from another. The international date line deviates in places to avoid crossing any land. In 1994, Kiribati shifted the date line 2,000 miles east to keep the entire country in the eastern hemisphere. In 2011, Samoa and Tokelau skipped a day and moved westward to be in the eastern hemisphere so they could have the same date as Australia and New Zealand, their main trading partners.
Yes, children, you saw in the video that The prime meridian determines the time of the earth. Prime meridian lies on the 0 degree longitude, which passes through Greenwich in England. It divides the earth into two vertical halves, that is the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. It has longitudes extending up to 180 on both eastern and western sides. Since it passes through Greenwich, it is generally referred to as the prime meridian as well. Now, the international dateline. International dateline lies to the opposite side of Greenwich. There is only one 180-degree longitude, which is known as the international dateline. So prime meridian lies on 0 degree longitude, whereas international dateline lies opposite to the prime meridian, that is at 180-degree longitude, which is known as the international dateline. When one crosses this line, the day and date changes. The international dateline passes through the Pacific Ocean and separates two calendar dates. I repeat, international dateline, there is only one 180-degree longitude, which is known as the international dateline. It lies opposite to the prime meridian on the earth. When one crosses this line, the day and date changes. The international dateline passes through the Pacific Ocean and separates two calendar dates. It is not exactly 180-degree at all places, since the line crisscrosses across several time zones. This is because if it is drawn straight, then the line has to pass through many islands, and due to this, they might have 2 days and 2 dates on the same island. This might create confusion. Therefore, the line, when it passes over land, is shifted towards water bodies, and so it is not straight but zigzag. You can see the international dateline in your textbook. Now, we can see that the sun is the biggest clock of the earth. The time at any place is decided by the position of the sun in the sky and its longitude. The earth completes one rotation in 24 hours. There are 360 longitudes in all, 180 to the east and of the prime meridian and 180 to its west. In this way, 15 longitudes pass by the sun in 1 hour. One longitude takes 4 minutes to rotate. Thus, there is difference of 4 minutes between two adjacent longitudes. Therefore, the time in different places on the earth varies as per their longitudes. Now let us see what is local time. The time taken according to the overhead position of the sun in a particular place is known as the local time of that place. It differs by 4 minutes with every 1 degree longitude. When any longitude faces the sun, it would be 12 noon in all the places on that longitude. So, we can say that places located on the same longitude have the same time. Then we move on to the standard time. The local time of a place which is situated in the middle of the country is taken as the standard time of the country. This means that time is fixed on the basis of particular longitude in a country, which is known as standard time. The standard time of a country is decided on the basis of 82.5 degree east longitude, which passes through Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh. This means that if it is 12 noon in Allahabad, it is 12 noon everywhere in the country. This makes it convenient for the smooth administration of the country. So we have seen how the time is ascertained in the whole world. So children, read it properly, see the video and go through the textbook very nicely. And if any doubt, I will be solving in my live session. Till then, take care. Thank you.